It's 3 o'clock. Welcome to Replenish the Atmosphere of Discovery, where we discover the master's plan for our lives. So today's session is on anxiety. Today we are going to talk about anxiety. So the beginning of anxiety is normally fixed to a certain point of expectation or hope, right? So anxiety is a hope that has been tainted, a hope that has been negatively influenced. And it is hope mixed with fear, okay, or an expectation that is mixed with an intense dread or apprehension. It can be a good or bad expectation, right? But it is mixed with fear that leads to anxiety. And so anxiety seeks to search your heart and your mind for every reason to worry. It attaches to those reasons, and it's like putting worry or fear on steroids. It's attracted to your reasons to fear, your reasons to worry, your reasons to stress or to panic. And it is a distraction. Anxiety is a distraction. When you continue to mix hope with something else, it distracts you from your purpose. Okay? So stop putting your reasons in the wrong place. Even if they're really good factual reasons, you don't want to give anxiety anything to attach to. Your reasons goes in the information bank, okay? They keep you informed. That's it. That's all your reasons are supposed to do. You don't use those reasons, whether they're factual or imagined, to backtrack or to help negative emotions rule over you. Let's say that you're shy. And the reason why you're shy is because you were embarrassed as a child, right? So there's a reason why you don't talk to people. Okay. That reason that you have, anxiety will seek it out, it will attach to it and keep you avoiding speaking up for yourself, avoiding taking risks, avoiding making positive decisions that benefit your life. Reasons for negative emotions is just information. Okay. So that way it does not distract you by removing hope and that positive expectation, right? That's the only place that reasons need to be. They need to be in an information bank. It's just for information, right? So you don't allow your reasons why you're doing something. You don't let those reasons become leaders, okay? Your shyness, that's information. The reason for your shyness, that's information. You don't put these reasons in leadership positions, or your negative emotions will use them to build themselves up. Okay. Reasons are motivators, either for good or for bad. That's why you leave them in the information bank. Your reasons is information. Okay. They are motivators for your thoughts, for your feelings, and your emotions, your reasons. Okay. Reasons for positive emotions, right? They drive you in the right direction. So you take the information that your reasons give you, okay? You direct your feelings and your thoughts towards positivity, and then you let it propel you to fulfill your purpose, okay? So that same shyness with the positive emotion like joy, it doesn't cause panic, right? Even though you're shy, you will still share that joy with others. So negative emotions will use your previous embarrassment to shame you out of your destiny, right? While a positive emotion will use that embarrassment to lift up other people, to learn from it, to grow from it, to connect to other people, right? So don't be distracted by anxiety. Don't let your reasons pump it up until you're in a full-on panic attack, right? So remember, your reasons are just information. You don't put them in the driver's seat, right? You don't make them leaders. Your reasons are information. So whatever anxiety is trying to distract you from, flip it and distract yourself from being anxious. Okay. It distracts you from even very small but important decisions, direction, and things that need to be done. That's what anxiety does. Okay. So think about every time anxiety showed up, there was something that was supposed to be done. There was a decision that needed to be made, right? Or there was a new direction you were supposed to go. If you did it anyway, like even if you did it and you were anxious, it wasn't at the magnitude that you were capable of doing it, right? Because you were anxious. Okay. You probably made the wrong decision or maybe even went in the opposite direction because of that negative influence that attached itself to your hope, which attracted those reasons that you have, right? That were piling up in the driver's seat. That's why you want your reasons to only be information. You don't let them drive. When you mix hope with negativity, it causes that uneasiness, it causes that apprehension, and later full on panic, full on dread, right? And torment. And that's why those trust issues that we talked about and those fears needed to be dealt with. Okay. Anxiety will strip you of hope and healthy expectations that drive and motivate you to live a purposeful, whole, and fulfilling life, right? That's what it does. It strips you of hope. Okay. It twists your mind, your emotions, and then your body into a hopeless, empty shell that just exists. And it does this until all traits of your original design are diminished. Empty souls or shells, right? People that fail to exist because they took on the personality of anxiety until it stripped them of themselves. Okay. And these mental struggles that the world has now are not things that we have to live with. Okay. We've given up hope or we've allowed it to be mixed with negative influences until that hopeful expectation was stripped from us completely. And now humanity, which is supposed to be in the image of God, right, is turning into soulless beings. We're the ones that's turning into robots. And then these technology companies, what are they doing? They're creating robots to have personalities. Isn't that backwards? Does that make any sense to you? We are becoming numb, right? Mankind are creating beings to do what we do, right? Which is to manage our emotions, manage our thoughts and our feelings, while we are turning into these numb robots. And we just continue numbing ourselves chemically, mentally, and physically, right? So if you are a believer in God, there is no reason to be anxious. You may have information on why you could be, right? But again, you're not letting that information become attached to fear to infiltrate your hope and expectation. Okay. It says, be anxious for nothing. So you could have a reason that you could be anxious, right? But you're not letting that information, which is the reasons, you're not letting that information become attached to fear. Okay. So that distracts you from something that was supposed to be done, a decision that was supposed to be made, or a new direction that you were supposed to go. This is what anxiety does. Okay. And when you assign things like fear, anger, anxiety to your personality, you assume ownership of it. So now you start saying things like my anxiety, my abuse, my depression, right? Remember, these things need your consent to stay around. If you reject them, they can't stay. They get uncomfortable, right? Whatever was not there at your creation, when you were created, it had to be agreed upon. Okay. And our brains are so powerful and we forget who created these bodies, right? It wasn't a tech giant. Okay. It was the all knower, the one who knows all, the one who is all powerful. So he knew just what to give it the ability to do to sustain itself here in the earth. And he did not make any mistakes, right? It's our agreements, it's our distractions, it's our lack of management of our thoughts, our feelings, and actions that causes this body and this mind not to work properly. God didn't make mistakes when he created us. Okay. He created our bodies to do exactly what it needed to do to sustain us here in this earth, right? To sustain our soul and spirit. So, attention seekers and people that need to be validated, they tend to claim these negative things as their own, right? Including mental illnesses, right? They say my anxiety, my depression, my this, my that, right? They claim these negative things as their own, mental illnesses, diseases, and things like that. You should avoid identifying as XYZ because then it has the permission, it has your permission to intertwine into your character and into your personality, right? Which affects the way that you think. It affects your mindset. So you don't use these things to validate you. You want to be validated by your true character and positive influences so that your growth benefits the world, not just your ego and not just your brokenness. You don't want to take claim to these things that's going to continue to keep you in a broken cycle, right? And so we don't really think about how powerful our thoughts are. And because we don't recognize and won't acknowledge that fact, we won't direct them, right? You have to understand how powerful one single thought is, okay? And we don't pay attention to our thoughts until certain feelings show up, right? Hopefully. And then some of us even ignore what we're feeling until it affects us physically, right? And even further than that, we will ignore the changes in our physical body until we're at death's door and we have a something permanent that's irreversible, right? You have to pay attention to your thoughts. You have to pay attention to your feelings. You don't want to wait until it affects you physically and now you have irreversible damage done. Okay. Pay attention to the background noise. Don't ignore it. Handle it. Okay. Find its root, pluck it out, remove its power. Okay. Take it out of the driver's seat, right? It is rooted in a thought, something you saw, something you heard, whether you imagined it, whether you went through it, or maybe somebody convinced you of it. Whatever it was, find it, handle it, pluck it out, get it out of the driver's seat. Okay. So, what is it that has been eating at you? What is it that has been gnawing at your hope, that has been stripping you of hope, constantly turning you in the opposite direction of where you should be going? What is it that has been stopping you from getting things done? What is the thought that put you in that anxious state? Okay. What thoughts are leading you to slowly disconnect from family, friends, and life in general, where you no longer want to live because your hope has been sifted and you've been drained of any positive expectation because every time you've had an expectation, anxiety took those reasons that you wouldn't put in the rightful place, right? Boosted up the fears, boosted up the torment, and boosted up the worry. So now you have attached having hope to something dreadful. You have attached your faith to fear. You have attached your expectation and your trust to torment. So now you don't want to hope anymore. Now you don't want to have expectations anymore because you've attached them to these negative emotions, right? In this state, you cannot make a sound decision, right? Because we make decisions based on what is expected of us and what we expect from others, right? That's how we make our decisions. And hoping you do the right thing and hoping that someone does right by you and has your best interest now in this state causes dread and panic. So you say, I'm just going to avoid making decisions altogether, right? So do you see how anxiety slowly takes you away from here mentally, emotionally, and then it does it physically, right? It takes you away from people, right? So it starts in the mind, and then you start detaching yourself emotionally, and then you start detaching yourself physically and spiritually as well. So the state of your mental health should not only be left up to people who don't know you, right? You should ask your manufacturer first, right? You should ask the being that created you, right? So you know if you're having thoughts that are disturbingly gruesome and sexual and intrusive and harmful. You know these things. And those intrusive thoughts that you won't manage are looking for those reasons to pump up a negative emotion to strip you of hope and to drown you in fear. Okay. When you succumb to anxiety, you're no longer in control of your life. Okay. And this is what fear does. Fear and all his cousins and kids and grandkids, right? Fear senior, fear junior, fear the third, they take over. Okay. They don't just want a piece of you, they want all of you. Okay. They want your mind, they want your emotions, they want your will, they want your strength, and they want your body. They don't want just a piece. Okay. They want to control all of you. Anything that is rooted in fear will attack your body. And guess what? Two main areas: your heart, right? Your heart's racing, your heart beats irregular. It affects your blood pressure, right? It also affects your head, right? You all of a sudden have pressures and migraines and things like that. The most intricate parts of your being, where your spirit and your soul reside, that's where it attaches itself to, and that's what it affects, right? That's what fear does, and anything related to it. Okay. Then comes that trap to make you familiar with not existing physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, right? And this illusion begins with those thoughts of not belonging, right? Those thoughts of not being valued, not being loved, not being important, right? So you say, why don't I just stop participating in life? Why don't I just stop showing up? You don't even realize how much time has passed that you force people out of your life, people that actually love you and that will help you not fold under the control of anxiety, right? So that way you can be more comfortable with your lack of hope and lack of expectation. So you can disappear without anybody noticing. This is what anxiety does. So I see that. I see that in this world, right? I see you. I see the anxiety. And I want you to start right now and choose something to hope for. Doesn't have to be something big. Choose something to hope for. And don't allow anything to make you move from it. Put your reasons in the information department and leave it there. Don't put your reasons in the driver's seat. Okay. Reasons are good motivators, but don't put them in the driver's seat. Okay. And so the age where our innate ability to manage and rule our thoughts, feelings, and actions is becoming extinct, right? We're allowing everybody and everything else to control what we think, how we feel, and what we do, right? But we are the ones that are supposed to be managing that, okay? And a lot of times you end up zoning out, right? Because you spend a lot of time in what you call that safe place, right? Which to you is tucked off by yourself, tucked away in your own mind. So often you find yourself just zoning out, just detaching from reality, right? But an anxious mind is not safe by itself. Depending on what your influences or triggers are, you can go from being just a little bit nervous to a full-on panic attack. And that's why an anxious mind, being to yourself, is not safe. Okay. The more that you believe you're safe alone in this state, the more dangerous you become to yourself, right? Because your perspective is from a state of fear, hopelessness, and low expectations, right? And this perspective affects your decisions, which affects your direction, which affects what you get accomplished, what you get done, what you achieve, how you grow, how you move, and how you evolve in this world, right? And so one of the things that is good is certain mindful practices. One of the things is meditation, right? Quieting your mind and focusing on a positive thought without allowing negativity in. And when I say meditation, I'm not talking about emptying your mind. Your mind should never be totally empty, right? You can meditate on your favorite scripture, right? What God has revealed to you, through dream, through prophecy, right? And I would avoid certain meditation techniques that require chanting or anything that forces you into a trance-like state, right? Because you leave your spirit open to demonic influences when you do that. And your mind should not be totally empty. You still need to make sure that your spirit and your mind remains attached to your creator. Okay? Even in meditation, whatever you're doing, God is first. You don't want to empty your mind of God, right? Because you leave yourself wide open for any and everything else. Okay. When you break off that connection with God, you open yourself up to be implanted with who knows what, and now you can't explain why you're having these weird thoughts and feelings, why you can't remember things, why you're nervous now all of the time, you're having these mental tics and things like that happening with you. You want to be careful when your brain gets full of these thoughts, these type of crazy thoughts. Your reality starts to unravel, and then the delusion comes in, right? And then that starts the cycle of a lot of other mental health issues going on in your mind. When you start with your thoughts, okay, you start with managing the way that you think. So removing the distraction of anxiety begins in here, right? Putting your reasons in the right place, right? And not mixing your hope with negative influences, right? This is the basis of helping you overcome anxiety. And if it's a lot of things that have piled up, right, you're going to have a lot of things to sort through, right? But you can start it. You can begin and not allow this to have rule and power over you. Take it out of the driver's seat. Put your reasons just in the information bank, right? It's just information. Anxiety also produces impatience, right? Which interferes with the testing of your faith. But that process is what perfects and completes you when that work is done. So you don't want to be impatient either, right? You want to take your time, sort through those thoughts and those feelings, get to the root of it, handle it, find out what its source is, pluck it out. So if you can remove some of those reasons that are attached to the anxiety, great. And if it's things you need to deal with, you need to deal with them so that anxiety can no longer rule your life. Because it starts very little. It just starts being, a little apprehensive, a little nervous, right? But fear doesn't just want a little small piece. Okay. You got to think about it. It's generational. You got fear senior, fear junior, and fear the third. They all coming for you. They want your mind, heart, soul, spirit, strength. They want everything. They want your life. Okay. So when you accept a little bit of it, when you don't manage a little bit, you have to understand it's some more coming. It's going to open the door to all types of fears and phobias, right? And all types of negative emotions. It just opens the door and let them all in. Okay. So I want you to think about it's not a thing that you just say flippantly, right? Oh, oh, that made me anxious. Okay. Let's deal with what thought it was, what it made you feel. Now let's manage that before it goes further, right? Because then that thing itself becomes another reason that you could put in the driver's seat. Okay. And we don't want those reasons to do something to make us feel like we have to do something, to make us feel like we have to accept negative emotions. So I hope this was a eye opener for you all. Um, let's not let it rule our lives. And depending on where you are in your process, this is why before we've already had sessions on impatience, we've had sessions on fears, right? We've had sessions on being consistent. All of these things add up to put us in the place to fulfill the plan that God has for our lives. And we can't fully do that and excel in it, do it and be in a place of abundance, a place of happiness, a place of peace until we deal with those little things, right? That it's been a cycle in our lives and we want to stop the cycles from happening. We don't want to get to the mindset where we lose hope and say, this will never change. No, if you're still breathing, if you still are conscious and aware of your thoughts and you can function in this life, it's not over, right? So pick a hope. So we know that anxiety is a impure hope, right? It mixes hope with fear. It mixes expectation with apprehension, right? We know that's what it does. It causes a distraction to distract us from what we are supposed to be doing, right? So we know that. Now that we know that, let's pick a hope and let's not let anxiety have it. Okay. I hope that your hope is restored. And I hope that you understand the source of the anxiety. And I hope that you learn to manage your thoughts and manage your feelings. And I know we are in a world where we are influenced quickly and easily, but we're still supposed to manage those things. We're not supposed to allow the world to do that for us. And because we have allowed that, whichever way the world goes, that's whichever way our mind goes, which is not good because the world is supposed to be transformed, right? So to God be the glory. You all have a blessed weekend. If you know any anxious people, even just a little bit, a little nervousness, if it's been kicking up, knowledge, the truth will set you free. So there's things that you're anxious about because you don't understand what anxiety is, right? Once you understand what it is and what it does, and that it's a distraction and it destroys your hope, now you know, wait, I have lost hope. That's it. Whenever I hope for something, whenever I have an expectation and it doesn't turn out the right way, the next time it shows up, I'm anxious about it, right? And then I create these reasons that I attach the anxiety to, which is putting it on steroids, right? And anxiety is rooted in fear, okay? You want to deal with those things. And God tells us how to do it, right? So have hope that this is not something you have to live with for the rest of your life. But we do have to take back our mind. We have to take back our feelings. We have to remain consistent in our actions, right? In everything, spiritually, mentally, physically, in everything as human beings and being made in the likeness and image of God. That's what the world should be seeing, right? So have a great weekend. Love you all. Be blessed. Talk to you next Friday at 3 o'clock.